Hi, I'm Mike, and you're watching Spiritual Combat. And today's video is about a question I get a lot of times. Women ask why they keep meeting Mr. Wrong and what needs to happen to meet Mr. Right. And it's a viewer question basically along those lines. She makes a lot of good points that there's a lot of things going on I don't think she's aware of that keep uh, making her attract Mr. Wrong instead of Mr. Right. So there's some stuff she's doing. I don't think she's aware of it. So what we're going to do is got her question up here. And what I'm going to do is just bring it up for me to view it. And I'll read it to you. And as I read through it, I'll point out some the areas that she's messing up in that makes her continue to attract Mr. Wrong. And I think this area a lot of women, after you've studied this stuff a whole bunch and you're exposed to the truth and what's in the Word of God, this stuff is very simple. It's just it doesn't get taught. So you see the same pattern. When you have a lot of times when you have these women and they can't meet a man, majority of the time it's one thing. Same thing with men who can't meet a woman. Same thing, that they're repeating certain patterns. And once you get educated in, it's very easy and simple to see. But there's a lot of emotional strongholds that need to be overcome. So anyway, we'll get into this. And she says, thank you for the post. It was really interesting. I can relate. Um, and if you hear me, messing up, reading or whatever, some of the stuff she wrote isn't really. It might have been typos or whatever. It's no big deal, but we'll get through it. Anyway, so I can relate to this. Basically, I think she meant to say, as a woman, I have been messed about and wasted my time on men who are emotionally still little boys. And the video she's talking about is one of the videos on my channel that I did about immature men. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. All right, Okay, yeah, I can pull it up right here. And the title of the video is here. I'll just pull it up here on the screen. And that's the title of the video, Why Men Are Afraid to Approach Women and Ask Them Out. Okay, and that's the video she watched. Based on some of her questioning, some of the stuff she put in her question and she wrote in her comment, I don't think she's viewed a bunch of my other videos. Because a lot of this stuff here I answer in my other videos, but I'll just put it all together in this one. But anyway, so she said she's been, and a lot of women deal with this, messed about, wasting my time on men who are emotionally still little boys and blow hot and cold on me. I sometimes get looked at by men, and if I like what I see, I'll smile back. But sadly, more often than not, the men who do approach me are after one thing and one thing only. Okay, so, and that's the thing. Like in a bunch of my other videos, I tell women what they need to look for in a man, and you. One of my big things, you got to be ruthless with your time. I mean, you got to disqualify. If you're a woman looking for a man, you got to disqualify these men quickly because majority of them aren't worth it. Out of 100, you'll meet 10 that are worth pursuing something with. Out of those 10, one of them will be relationship material. So that's 1 in 100. And when I say disqualifying them, I'm not saying, oh, you got to get in 100 relationships and go through these men. No, a lot of them you can be like, okay, he's too fat. He's not my type. He's not this. He's not that. These men you'll come across and you might talk to or whatever. Um, but out of 100, it's basically one of them will be worth it. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with women. It's the exact same thing. You know. So what you need to be able to do is disqualify these men quick. If if a man isn't what you like physically, cut him off. But with women, physical appearance isn't that as big of a deal. Um, like I have a video about that where I talk about um, how you look doesn't matter, your appearance does. So basically, looks aren't that big of a thing. It's your appearance. Are you in good shape? How do you dress? Stuff like that. But I don't want to get off into all that. Um, so anyway, so yeah, she's saying a lot of them aren't worth it. She says sadly, more often than not, the men who do approach are basically players. Okay, and that's what you find a lot of times. The men who do have the heart, they realize, they figure out the game, how it works, and they'll just walk up and approach anybody. Before I got into the truth, that's how I was out there, you know uh, approaching women, running game, all that stuff like that. Okay, then I came into the truth. Now I got a verse, because and I have videos on the qualities you need to look for in a real man, and I'm gonna do more videos on that because I don't think I have enough information out there on it. But this is a quick verse that pretty much sums up what you need to be looking for in a real man. Okay, so let's go to this. It's Titus chapter 2, verse 11 and 12. And it says, "For the grace of God that bringeth salvation hath appeared to all men, teaching us that denying ungodliness and worldly lusts, we should live soberly, righteously, and godly in this present world." So, and let's break this down a little bit. Um, it says denying worldly lusts, and the worldly lusts can range from your those inordinate sexual lusts where these guys just have to go out there and be players and they can't, and I've known men like this. They literally don't know what else to do. Like there's this one guy I work with. I think he honestly wanted to settle down with a woman, but he just didn't know how not to be a player because he just couldn't overcome those lusts. And I think that's one of the things this woman's talking about is some of these men, they're just so lust filled, that it drives them, and they just want to see how many notches they could get on their belt, how many women they could run through and stuff like that. Um, a lot of them lust after appearance and clothes and just worldly stuff, money, using people, taking advantage of people, using a girl for her body and her money, all that stuff like that. But it said, so it's telling you a godly man, the type of man you should be looking for, should be denying ungodliness and worldly lust. He should have, you know, and it's not bad to lust, but the Bible says uncontrolled lust is wickedness, is bad. But you're gonna, when you get in a relationship, you're gonna want that woman on a sexual level. That's one of a man's one of his big needs. But it should be under control. Um, okay. What else it says? It says we should live soberly, sober minded. It shouldn't be a drunkard. You could have a glass of wine, you could drink, but if you just get totally wasted, righteously, which is, correctly, morally, according to the law, and godly in this present world, this wicked world. The world, just watch TV, it's going down the drain. Um, But anyway, I just brought that verse up just to give you a quick, hey, this is what a godly man will look like. Right there, this saves you a ton of time. This helps you weed out so many men, you know, because majority of the men out there don't line up with this stuff. They don't even slightly exemplify any of it. Okay. So, all right, there we go there. All right. So let's continue on. Approach, which is well and good. If that's all that girls after, okay, she had a little typo here, girls after, but I'm looking for someone more mature and meaningful. So she's looking, she's probably gotten to that age where she's looking for, she wants to settle down. And before you ask, I always dress nice, sexy, but not with everything showing. And I try to be friendly, but not putting everything out there as I know, like you said, guys enjoy the thrill of the chase. And I don't think I said that guys enjoy the thrill of the chase. Guys don't, um, like what I teach men is approach the woman, take the lead, be a man, you know, after you get to know them for a little while, if you've talked a little bit, set up a date, be a leader, be a man. Women are attracted to leaders. Women are attracted to assertive men. You know, I got a whole video on that word assertiveness because that is what attraction is for women. They're attracted to that. On a deep instinctual level, God wired them up that way to be that way. Okay? But so I'm not. I don't think I said that guys enjoy the thrill of the chase. I think women enjoy being chased. Maybe, I'm not. That's probably another video. But anyway, I also think that women who allow men to be the first one to approach and put the effort in are better respected and better treated by guys. Like I said, as far meeting, and I have videos about this. As far as men and women meeting, it doesn't need to be okay. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna approach a woman and this, that, and the other. Men and women alike need to learn. When you find people who are just when you find people who are single and lonely and aren't in a relationship, one of the big factors is they're not social like they need to be. They're not, like I said, just going out and being a social, open person in any situation they're in. When they're at the supermarket, when they're at work, when they're over a friend's house, or they're meeting somebody new, when they're at the gym. They're not leading an open social lifestyle. They're not going to the gym. They're not taking a class or in some type of group. Hey, I do computer programming, so I'm going to become a member of this computer programmers group that meets Wednesday evenings or whatever. And at restaurants, they're not opening themselves up to be social. If you want to meet people, it's not about, okay, the worst, like I say in my other videos, the worst places to meet people are these places where it's set up for you to meet people, like bars and clubs and stuff like that. Those are the worst places. Just go to the gym. Go to some group where, hey, you're, like I said again, I keep saying a computer programming because that's one group I was thinking about getting into when I was because down the road I'm thinking about doing computer program or something. But if there's a computer programming group, there was one here and they meet weekly and discuss computer programming. My idea was to go there and network, and hopefully once I pick up computer programming, these people could connect me with a job somewhere and I could, get a job doing computer programming and have a little career change. Anyway, but if you're single, don't focus on, hey, I got to go somewhere where I'm going to meet singles. No, focus on developing yourself and stuff like that. You'll meet people. But I got a whole video. No, I got videos with an S on that. Check them out. But Anyway, I also think that women who allow men to be the first to approach, okay, and put the effort in are better respected. That has nothing to do with it, but I think yeah, guys should approach it. It's very attractive when a guy is comfortable enough with himself and in his own skin to just approach and open conversations and talk to women, or men or whoever, just socialize with people in general and be confident with his social skills. And then when it's time for him to get in a relationship and meet that woman, it's very easy, Okay. Guys and men will value a woman more if they have out, okay, the effort to win her. So if you have to put in the effort to win her, and you can't really put it all on that, but I understand where she's going. Okay, and us women like to be wooed, romance, etc. And at least then we know he's genuinely into us. And my thing is this: if a guy's talking to you, he's into you. Simple as that. The romance, I got a video on that, is overrated. The romance it is not what attracts the woman. The assertiveness and being a real man is what is attractive to women. They don't. Most women don't consciously know that, but they feel it when it happens. Getting them roses and all that. If it was that simple, every man would. There wouldn't be any single men or whatever out there. But the roses and the romance is like the salt and pepper on top, but the main course, the meat and potatoes, is being assertive, being a real man. That's what attracts women and gets them all googly. All right. Some people say this is old fashioned way to think. Okay, I don't think so at all. And even so, at least in my grandparents' day, there was still such a thing as romance. Okay, and there still is if you meet the real man. But like I said, that's a seasoning. It's not the main course. Okay. Um, just because a woman wants a man to put the effort in doesn't mean she's a meek, little mousy creature who's gonna let the guy dominate her. Okay? Now, I'm going to keep reading because there's a good point right here. It says, I am a feisty Scottish woman, as far from submissive and mousy as you can get. And I love it when a guy makes the effort. It shows me he's interested and that I'm not wasting his time. Okay? So she's saying, okay. And a decent woman is worth being romanced. Okay. But she's saying she's a strong, feisty. Uh, so see, that's a big. Okay, and I'm glad she put that in there. It says just because a woman wants a man to put in the effort doesn't mean she's meek, little mousy creature who's gonna let the guy dominate her. Okay? Now, let me show you something. Like, okay? Now because she just showed a very important thing. We're diagnosing this thing, and I think we just found a big thing. All right? So this is First Timothy chapter 2, verse 9. It says, in like manner also that women adorn themselves in modest apparel with shamefacedness and sobriety, not with broided hair, gold, pearls, or costly array. So he's saying that the woman be humble and shamefaced. That's the word I'm getting at. It says a feeling or expressing shame or embarrassment. Um, Okay, and that kind of gets to it, but some of the synonyms are shame, sheep is guilty, conscious, let's see if there's a better one. It says feeling or showing shame, not a prideful, you know, it's like modest is what they're getting at the context of what they're trying to say. They're having or showing a moderate uh, estimation of one's own abilities, accomplishments, or value. Having or proceeding from a, okay, urban conventional, from showiness or, so kind of shamefacing is being humble and everything like that. And then she said, submissive. Well, it says, wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. Okay. And, you know, I'm not faulting her on it because the Bible, these preachers don't teach these women this stuff. And society is telling women they need to be this strong-willed, all that, this, that, and the other. And I'm here to tell you, like for me, back in my, you know what I'm saying? Back in my player days, when I, you know, back before I got my, you know, got everything right, you know, when I used to be like this right here, when I was like that, women like this, these women who thought they were strong-willed and those were the best ones. I mean, because I just straight, you know, they had these strong wills. You know, what'd she say she was? Uh, she says, I'm a feisty Scottish woman, as far from submissive and mousy as you can get. And boy, I mean, you know, I'm not gonna go in. You know, I'm not gonna go into. But they were the easiest ones to manipulate. All you do is banter back and forth with them, and once you get the best of them in that banter, and act all chauvinistic around them, and you win the banter going back and forth, you know, for the power struggle and quick-witted responses, and once you get them, it's over. They turn into putty, and it's a wrap. You got them. I mean, and you know, I've done it, but I've had friends who were masters of it. And I just watch them just wear these. As soon as I see the woman, I'll be like, it's a wrap. It's like putting a lion in a cage with a sheep. I mean, they destroy him. And I mean, these dudes had it down. No emotion in it, anything. They could just act. And they just turn these women. These women didn't know what was going on in their head. So, and it's funny because the Bible directly contradicts that behavior, and I've witnessed why a woman shouldn't be that way. And I'm gonna tell you, these same dudes, when they saw the quiet, you know, women who literally shamefaced, they wouldn't make too much eye contact. They were respectful of you, but that woman had her emotions under control enough to not buy into your look and your talk and all that. They could see your spirit, and they wouldn't give any energy to that man. And I watched it, and the dude be like, "Oh yeah, I ain't gonna mess with her. You know, she like a librarian, or you know." And those women were safe, but them strong-willed, prideful ones, they just make mincemeat of. And on the same note, men like me, like the way I am now. Now I'm married, so I'm not out there for anything. But I can spot. It's so easy to spot these types of women who don't line up with the biblical types of women that God tells us to get. That God tells us to get. And you need to watch my other video where I go through all the verses, not every single one, but majority of the verses of what a biblical wife is supposed to be, her role, what she looks like, how to spot one. And once you study these verses and get them in your head, you can spot a woman who is bad news a mile away. You can see her coming a mile. First thing you look at is her dress. Then you look at how she's carrying herself. Then you listen to what she says, and you get in a conversation with her. You can instantly pick up on it, and you can be in and out of dealing with these women before they even know what type of guy you are. So this lady right here who wrote me this comment and asked these questions, these men, the keeper men, the men who are keepers that are husband material, have come into her life and out of her life, but she is never. They went right below her radar because she hasn't been properly educated on her role and on the man's role. You know, so because I'm gonna tell you, a real man who's working hard is honest, honorable, is gonna be loyal and all that stuff that a woman wants. He had those types of men have it going on in their life. They got it going on with the job, with the friends, like everything's stable, all that stuff, and they're not gonna have some loudmouth woman who's not gonna be in check. You know, these men are leaders, okay? They're assertive and all that. They're not gonna have an insubordinate, unsubmitted woman in their life. So soon as they see a little of it, and they have their emotions under control, so as soon as you show yourself to not line up with that stuff, they're gone. And if these women never realize it. Same thing with a man. When these women who have their act together and they are what you call Proverbs, was it Proverbs 32 woman or Proverbs 31 woman? The woman who is I forget what the word is, but that type of woman, that where they lay out. I'm not gonna just throw stuff out there. I'm gonna pull it up real quick. But Proverbs 31 woman, a virtuous woman is the word I was looking for. A virtuous woman who has her head screwed on tight, knows her role, knows what your role, what a man's role is supposed to be. These men never. If you're one of these effeminate men, and you ain't got no backbone, or if you one of these men who just a whoremonger and can't get your lust under control, these women spot it a mile away. They see the spirit. They can discern the spirit. They see it on you, and they never even come across your radar. They're stealth. They're in and they're out, and they're observing you. You don't even know it because they're educated on this thing, and it's so obvious. It's just like me. I just read through this thing and picked out that one sentence. Bam! That's what it is. That's what's hurting her. Okay? So let's continue reading. And she should watch some of my other videos. I go into this stuff very deeply. This is kind of where I specialize in with biblical stuff because the churches don't. And society is telling you, you an independent woman, you don't need no man, and they need to be at your feet, and men are knuckleheads. All the commercials got the man up there, doing something stupid, and the woman's the brains of the whole operation, and it's really the exact opposite. And you wonder why there's so many single people, and relationships are a disaster. The divorce rate is like 50%, and everybody's cheating on everybody. Nobody's happy in relationships because Satan's turned society upside down. He turned everything upside down against the Bible. And it's slowly getting to where everything's totally upside down. But you can see where it's going. Okay. So anyway, let's see. Some people, okay. So she said, I am a feisty Scottish woman, as far from submissive and mousy as you can get. You're going to be single. And the only thing you're going to get is players every time. I'm telling you, this is coming from somebody. I've been around them. I've been out there, when I was out there, when I was a sinner, I was doing it. And I'm telling you, you're getting, and I'm not going to tell you nothing nice. I'm going to tell you the truth so you don't hurt yourself. Okay? So as far from submissive and mousy as you can get. And I love it when a guy makes the effort. And I'm telling you, the real man, the keeper, he's gonna look. Because when I was out there, I could approach. I didn't. It didn't bother me to have a woman shut me down and, oh, could you get away from me, please? Okay, thank you. I'm glad. Like, I appreciate a woman treat me like that or talk down to me or whatever, because I know right up front you're a nightmare. And, perfect. Absolutely. I'm going to leave you alone. And I know guys who their game is so good they could get through that. They through the, they call it a bitch shield or whatever. They know how to just crush right through that thing and get you and then be up out of there. Okay? So, but a lot of women, because they've been hurt and they don't understand, they don't know, well, how do I tell a good guy from a bad guy? How do I tell a keeper from a guy I should keep from a guy I should just get away from? So what do? They just put up that shield, and if a guy gets through it, they let him in, and they get hurt again, and they don't know what am I doing wrong, And and the solution is you gotta. I do videos on all the stuff that you gotta look for in these men, and a lot of women are like, well, it can't be that because every single dude I meet, he's after this or he does that or he likes this. Yeah, damn near, like I said, out of 100 dudes, 10 of them might be worth talking to and pursuing something with. Now those 10, one of them is probably gonna be a keeper. Okay, so that's why dang near every dude is, and then if you throw into that, when you throw into that you are as far from submissive and mousy as can be, then you're not even seeing the 10 that are worth pursuing because they running before they even get to you. You just messing with all knuckleheads, Okay, so you got to understand that thing, what's going on there. Let's see. So let's see, as far from submissive as it can be. Let it, when a guy makes the effort, it shows me he's interested and that I'm not wasting my time. Plus, it makes me valued by him. And that's the other thing. When a guy's chasing, because that was the thing about my boys who were players. They would chase, they'd pursue, they'd run game, they'd do all this stuff and keep chasing. And you're like, well, he must really like me because he really chased me. No, he like that puss. And he gonna chase you till he get it. And he'll let you kick him in the head, spit on him, call him a dog. Hey, okay, I'll give it to you if you jump around on and bark like a dog. And he'll do whatever you want, and then you give it to him, and then he gone. The keepers, the dudes who will be around, they be like, hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm fine. You gonna buy me a drink? No. Okay, bye. They gone. Just like that. I mean, that's my the best example I could give. All right. And a decent woman is worth being romanced. And if the guy doesn't think so, well, he's not for her. And if he can't have the balls, as you said, to even speak to her, would he really make a strong supportive partner? And that's on the other side of the spectrum. If a guy can't, because this is what she's talking about, what I said in my video, that's another, for women, that's another cue. Don't even worry about him. He's weak, he's soft, he's a pussy. Don't mess with him. If he doesn't have the balls to come up and talk to you, he's a chump. He don't leave him. There's some situations where you're gonna bump in and hey, you're gonna talk back and forth. It might be a little awkward, whatever. But like, I'll give you a good example. Here's a good example. I'll go to grocery store example. You're walking through the grocery store, you walk past each other. Dude looks up, he's an interesting looking guy. So you make eye contact with the guy. He kind of makes eye contact with you. The way it would happen with me, okay? I'm not out there, but if I was, the way it would happen, walk past, make eye contact. I make eye contact with her. I'm like that, nod my head, hey, smile, walk, boom. It turns out I'm right behind her in line. You as a woman, you already made eye contact with me. You already gave me a buying signal, all that stuff like that. When you standing in line at the grocery counter, see, right now you got a good, be ruthless with your time. Don't turn around and look at him. Just stand in line. And if he's a man, he'd be like, "Hey, I got a question. What do you think of that? That whatever that box of crap is you bought to eat. I don't know, TV dinner meal there. Have you had one of those before?" He's gonna create some conversation somehow or do something. Majority of these dudes are chumps, man. They're gonna stand there. What should I say? And they ain't gonna say anything. Majority cut them off because, like I said, out of 100 dudes, 99 of them is probably garbage. You know what I'm saying? Definitely 90 of them. So you should walk out that store now. Why didn't he talk to me? Did my underarms stink? Is it my breath? Do I need to, get a boob job and a butt job and a lip job? Maybe that's what it is. No, he's a punk, and you weeded him out. Be happy. Go to your car. Good. He was a chump anyway. All right. I'm glad I didn't waste my time with him. And now what a lot of these women do, they'll turn around and try to, who knows, start a conversation, do something like that. And then 6 months later, 3 years later, all this emotion invested, and it gets broken off because she's turned off because he's a punk. He's not a real man, this, that, and other. That's what happens. You got to be ruthless with your time. All right. And a decent woman is worth being romanced. And if a guy, so yeah, she was saying if he doesn't have the balls to approach her, but yeah, so to even speak to her, would he really make a strong supportive partner? No, he wouldn't. Probably not. Absolutely not. So she got that down. Now here it goes. My problem is I'm 35 years old and still single. Why? Because she's as far from submissive and mousy as can be. I don't mind being single, but would be nice to share at least part of my life with a male partner. Absolutely. You should mind being single because God wired you up to be with a man, and he wired men up to be with women. And, a man doesn't want to be alone and a woman doesn't want to be alone. So that's a natural urge, especially at that age. Okay? Like me, the reason why I'm so good and I have such a good working knowledge of relationships and deal with women is because all the way up till I was like 30 years old, damn near, I hadn't even been in a long relationship. I was just getting puss here and there randomly, and I didn't, like the women I wanted, I couldn't get with them, and the women I didn't want, I'd end up getting with them. I didn't know what the heck was going on. So I said, I'm going to get this part of my life under control. And it was a long path that eventually led me right to the Word of God. And then I got the whole truth on the whole thing. So yeah, that's natural. That's normal for you to feel that way. Okay, a male partner. I do get a tad lonely sometimes. Again, that's normal. And I'm sure it's more than a tad. But nothing I do or don't do seems to work. Why? Because you are as far from submissive and mousy as that's what's killing her. Okay, that's the main thing. I only get approached by players. Okay, she just said it. She only gets approached by okay, and I mean, didn't I say that? I was saying that earlier. By players, losers, and little boys. And any men I do like, when I smile at them, they don't speak to me. Okay? So what to do? Any suggestions? Uh, would really appreciate any advice at all you can give me from a guy's point of view. Okay, so here is my suggestion. Get in the word, watch my video where I go through what the role, who a woman is supposed to be, a woman's role. And I teach out the Bible, and I don't teach like these silly churches. I actually got an understanding of the Bible. A lot of these verses, the churches are not going to tell you. Like some of these verses that I go over in my video, as a matter of fact, let me see if I could pull it up so you can, I'll pull the video up so you can see it and you'll know what, let's see. All right. So let's see, without the Bible, dealing with self-pity. Okay. Here it is right here. So let me open it. There we go. And this is the video. It's the qualities of a good wife. And then, the other one is, and what you need to do is watch a whole bunch of them and get in your word and study these verses. But it says, and how to choose the right woman. Okay. That's kind of from a male's perspective. And then look at all the other ones. There's a bunch from about relationships. But the first thing you need to do is understand what your role is. And I'm telling you, just some of the stuff I read in there, I didn't go in depth in all of it, but some of the stuff I read in there, I saw exactly why you're struggling right now. And it's not anything very hard, but it's typical. It's very typical of what we see in like a lot of the men who write me questions. To them, it's like, what am I doing wrong? And it's like, to me, it's obvious because I see it over and over again. And what it is our society misleading people. It is trying to put a woman in a male's role and a male in a woman's role, and you put them into a relationship like that, and it just turns into a disaster. That's why everybody's getting divorced. So yeah, your role and your mindset is reversed, and that's why you're struggling the way you are. So the first thing you need to do is understand who you are, your role as a woman, and it'll probably be a shocker, and it's gonna be completely, totally opposite to what society and everybody else is doing and saying in the world. But if you see proof backing up that this is true, of course it's the Bible, but proof backing it up is go out there and look at the people who are in long relationships, and majority of the time you will see that the man is in a masculine leadership role, and the woman is submitted to him and respects him. A man's not going to stay with a woman who disrespects him. He'll end up cheating on her if he does stay with her, or just miserable or whatever. And a woman can't stand a man that she can't respect. She's not attracted to a man. So you see these people that their relationship starts going down the drain, and they're going through these divorces. And I've tested this. Like anytime somebody's going through some situation, oh, I'm about to get a divorce. Oh, she left me, this, that, and the other, or some woman's all pissed off about a man. I always ask a couple questions just to make sure this thing is airtight, and it's always airtight. It's always the woman can't respect the man, and the man's pissed off because the woman doesn't respect him. So that's the problem, and you're gonna repel good men when you're being, would you say, you're as feisty and strong-willed. It's a turnoff in the long term. It'll work in the short term. A man will stand in there and tolerate it while you giving him the puss and he getting something out of it. But don't know, man. Men like peace. They like intimacy. They like the puss, and they like you to be submitted. And help them out, and cook for them, stuff like that. I'm telling you. And so if you could give a man peace, some puss, and some food, you'll keep them forever. They'll never leave you. He'll give you all of his money and do whatever you want. He will give you the world, the romance, everything. He'll praise you, and he'll love you, But that's the net. And I just really summed it up. But you need to study what your role is, and you will attract men. But it's going to be totally opposite and alien to what you've been brainwashed by this society into thinking. Okay, so so that's the first thing. You got to learn what your role is, okay, and get it deeply ingrained. Then you need to learn what a real man looks like and what his role is. You got to learn how to spot a real man, okay? And I got a bunch of videos on that, but I need to do a more specific one on it. But basically, like that first verse I read earlier in the video, it's Titus chapter 2, verse 11 and 12 says, "For the grace of God that bringeth salvation hath appeared to all men, teaching us that denying ungodliness, worldly lusts, we should live soberly, righteously, which is correctly, live correctly according to God's word, and godly in this present world." And this world, is wicked. So when you begin to know what you're looking for, a good man will stick out like a sore thumb. You'll see, it'll be very obvious. You'll see him. You'll pick him out. You'll pick him out of a pack. You'll be able, and then you'll start to talk to him. You'll see. But of course, again, the first thing, you got to figure out your role. The second thing, figure out, learn what a real man's biblical role is and what he looks like, what a real man looks like. And then number 3 is you got to begin to socialize and just talk to people. You might already do that, and don't go. And I got a video on the worst places to meet people. The worst places to meet people. The number 1 absolute worst place is online. Anything online. Facebook, any of the dating sites, anything online, heck no. No such thing as long distance or online relationship. There's no such thing. You need a person in front of you where you can observe their body language and watch them, because the body says more than any words can. So you need them there. That's just one reason. I mean, what's the point of a relationship if they're not there? And there's plenty of people. You run into hundreds of people every day that you could be talking to, just men and women, just socialize, because you could meet a woman and she could hook you up with a man. She could invite you to a cookout and you start socializing, meet somebody there, whatever. Okay. So yeah, the worst places online, number 1, bars and clubs, number 2. Okay. Some of the best places, they say, are school, the gym, and churches. But majority of these churches aren't teaching the word, and these dudes don't So be careful with these churches, because majority of the churches aren't really teaching the word of God. They're not teaching the Bible. They're not telling these men they need to be men, and they're not telling these women what their role is and all that stuff. So be careful with the churches. But I gave you a couple ideas earlier. There's all types of stuff that could benefit you. Take a class to get better at whatever your job is or whatever. But and just when you're out in your daily things that you do on a daily basis, you're at the gas station, you're here, you're there, you're wherever. Try to hold little conversations. Say, hey, how you doing? And hold little conversations. Begin to talk to people, a little bit. Yeah. So that and I have a video on that. Just go through my videos. I got videos on all this stuff. I need to do more on what women need to look at to identify a real man, but I have plenty of videos on that too. But anyway, let me make sure there's nothing else. And any suggestions would really be appreciated. Yeah, but nothing I do. So yeah. And I tell you what, you always know what you always, because this is the same thing with me when I was struggling with this. It says, but nothing I do or don't do seems to work. And you always know when you've hit what exactly it is, because it's even when somebody says it, even to consider it hurts. It's hard to even consider it to be that. So like for me, it was like when I was struggling, I was kind of submissive and idolizing women and putting them on a pedestal and not being the man and being assertive. And, I was too clingy and all that. And then the other big thing is, I kind of wasn't social enough and stuff like that. So, and it was just hard to consider that, stepping into being a real man and just dealing with them like a man, because I was raised that all women are perfect princesses. And, I treat them like that, and it was a turn off to them, I wasn't being a real man. But anyway, check out a bunch, some of my other videos. If you have more questions, just keep them coming. It helps, it helps me do these videos. I enjoy answering the questions. I'll do a video back. But yeah, keep the questions coming. I appreciate them. Check out my other videos. It'll answer a lot of the stuff, questions you might have. And you're watching Spiritual Combat, and have a nice day.